Hello, everyone. This is Daniel Incandela, and I am kicking off a video series on leadership with people that I admire. And I have my first ever guest, Jennifer Magley. Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much. I'm super honored to be here with you.
I can't believe you said yes. So thank you.
Well, no, I mean, hey, I figure if Leslie Bailey told you yes first, like, of course, all of us need to tell you
That was good
yes.
advice for everything.
Right.
Okay, I've done a little research. You're an athlete, a coach, a speaker, a mom, an author, a leader, and I am sure I'm missing a number of things. I want to make sure you have a chance to introduce yourself and do yourself justice.
Oh no,
Please.
you hit it. You hit it out of the park. I'm also a professional plate breaker. I try to spin all these plates. And the key, I think, is just to deciding which one I want to fail at today. You know, it's like, okay, the mother plate's going to break today, and I'm all right with that. So that's kind of how I view my little hats that I wear.
Okay, we're going to talk about those hats. You ready to jump into some questions?
Yeah.
Okay. When you were a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be number one. It didn't matter at what. I just wanted to be number one. I wanted to be the number one tennis player in the world. And you know, when you live in Lawrence, Kansas, we don't even know how big the world is. We didn't have social medias before computers. So it was a little bit of a lofty goal, but that's what I wanted as being the first child, the people pleaser, the perfectionist, was just to be the top number one.
Is that still the case today?
Absolutely not. It's not the case. I don't know what has happened to my competitiveness. It's gone far away. I think we're in a totally different time. Like when I was a kid, nobody did like CrossFit for fun. You know, like there weren't people that were training for sports events that would never happen. I mean, our culture has changed so much that I can't even go into a gym and be the number one person in the group fitness workout. I can't be the number one on a cycle bar bike anymore. So no, I am not even competitive anymore. I don't know what happened. I don't know.
Oh, well, you're number one here, first ever guest. So
yes, number one. But it's something that I think what happens for a lot of people is you're so driven that you start to never cross the finish line. And it starts to kind of eat away at your self-worth and how you identify. And that definitely happened to me. So they say depression is anger turned inward. And I don't know what I don't know what the words would be for failure, but it's somewhere holding hands a little bit with depression when you're not number one. It's kind of an all or nothing type of thought. So I think that's maybe why I let it go.
that sounds like it was the right decision too.
Yeah, it definitely was.
All right, so when you were growing up, you wanted to be number one. Who did you look up to? Who helped shape you as an adult and a leader?
Yes, it was probably my father. I really wanted to be a lot like him. He was a professional athlete. But then outside of that, I was inspired by the Michael Changs of the world. I thought he was a really unique guy who, you know, said what he believed in. Actually, my friend ended up marrying him. I got to meet him in the future. And it was super weird to be like, yeah, your husband's poster was in my basement as a kid. Oh, what a world. But yeah, I really always admired athletes that use their profile and their platform to kind of have a bigger mission.
I love it. All right, so can you pick 5 adjectives to describe yourself, please?
Yes, I was thinking about that. I don't even know if these are adjectives. Maybe they're not, but a connector. Is that I shouldn't. This shows you I went to University of Florida and I didn't study hard enough. But I would say I'm a connector. That's what I love to do is connect. Driven. Also, I aspire to be giving. That's something that I'm hopeful for. And then 2 more I would say is I'm also, I would say, somebody who's a communicator, and the trick is knowing when to speak and when not to speak. So I'm continuing to learn that. And then lastly, a word that would describe me, I would hope, would be gritty.
So let's touch on one or two, if you don't mind. Gritty.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that, please?
Gritty. I'm the kind of person that when I fail, I want to just spin that thing like Rumpelstiltskin into into gold. So it takes a few minutes once you've been knocked down to when you're down there to say, okay, I'm going to get back up. You know, this hurts, but how am I going to turn this for my good? And that's, I think, the characteristics of somebody who wants to be gritty, who strives to continue to just move forward and make the most out of it. And then I would say with the connector piece, that's something that I just love. And it's kind of like this term that I've coined for myself, but I help successful people become unstoppable. And I really genuinely love doing that. And that's something that's just important to me. It's my passion. I feel like that's why I've been put here, is just to help connect other people to what's next and what's now.
Your face lights up when you say that. So yeah, you're telling the truth. That's good.
Yeah.
In terms of communication at the beginning, you know, I've seen your videos. You're really active on LinkedIn. You do speaking engagements, power lunches, and a book. So, I mean, you've clearly found your voice in a number of different ways. What inspired you to write the book, and also everything else that you're doing to spread your own message?
Yeah, going back to moving that finish line as a part of you know, our makeup for being a high performer, we're always moving it. So we're like, oh, I did this thing, but maybe not fast enough, or maybe, you know, it could have been better. And my husband said, do you realize that you're always doing that? You're never letting yourself win. And that's when I decided, wow, you know, this is a big part of my life, is never allowing myself to win. And where is my identity wrapped up? So that's why I wrote the book, was to kind of shine the light of what's happening in corporate America with leaders and how they're gaslighting their people a lot of times. And I thought a fable would be a great way to do that. And I didn't see a fable or a book like mine out there for women specifically, and even written by a woman. So I was like, let's do this. And that's why, and I decided to write the book, and that's how it came to be.
And what's some of the feedback you've gotten on it?
It's been wonderful feedback, because most of the people that have been reading the book, I have given it to them. So they're like, awesome job. But I think the feedback's been great. So the book industry is bizarre, Daniel. Like less than 2% of books that are published sell over 1,000 copies. So when people say they have a book that came out, yes, that's true, but did it sell? And I just reached that upper 2%. So I'm really proud of that. But it's been well received. People think they wish maybe sometimes it was a little bit longer, because you can read it over your lunch break. But if that's the biggest complaint, thumbs up from me.
Let's talk about mentorship a little bit. What role has that played in your career so far?
Yes. So for me, sometimes it's been hard to find somebody who's been to where I want to go. And I've had to really stay open to receive insight from other people that may not look like me and that may not have had the same journey, but I'm always just seeking to find that person to connect with. So for me, mentorship has been a little bit of a harder road to find that person. But that said, I'm still, you know, looking up and looking out and trying to find those people that can give me the insight, you know, that I'm looking for. But it's harder. It's harder to find a mentor.
For me, it's just played such a role. Like before we hit record, I was saying I would not be anywhere close to where I am today without people that had stepped in and helped me. And so the mentorship that has helped you, how are you now helping others that you see potential in?
Yes, I'm happy to connect with people, you know, that I don't know. That was a really big part of my first couple years that I was here in Indianapolis. And now I'm focusing on deep, like kind of creating some depth within those relationships of others. And so that looks like a lot of sometimes scheduled, like text so-and-so or send a card out, or how can I recognize this person today? Is it on social? Is it a gift card? For me, it's a lot of tangible tasks, because sometimes it's not natural to keep up with someone that you're mentoring. It's really not. And I think that in my case, it has to be an intentional touch point. And if it's not scheduled every month.
Your energy is energizing. It is to me. This is me excited, by the way. This is about as excited as I get. And I'm just wondering, the last year and a half, I talked to so many people that are burnt out.
Right.
Just in general from life, which is totally understandable. But how do you keep your energy and what keeps you inspired? I'd love to hear that from you.
Yes. Well, I'm kind of like a robot. And I say that because, Og Mandino has a great quote that says, first we create our habits and then we become a slave to our habits. So choose good habits, right? And in the mornings, every day I'm reading, I'm journaling, I'm writing down, what would 3 amazing things look like today? And I do that every single day and have been doing it for, 6 or 7 years now. And then at the end of the day, I write down 5 things from that day that I'm grateful for. So I say all that to say I'm very much attached to my habits. And I find when I have to hold myself accountable for things to be grateful for, I find them. So I literally sometimes will be talking to people and I'm like, oh, this goes on my list tonight. And that just shows you what a weirdo I am. That lists are such a big thing to me. But it's just a continual reframing of my mindset because I used to not be this person in the least. And I've just found comfort in trying to have some type of control over the way that my mind can respond to things.
I don't think you're weird. I'm listening to Atomic Habits right now.
Yeah,
and I've started doing things intentionally each day to try and change certain things. So resonates with me. So you're all right in my book.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And I definitely just believe in hacking people. Like, how can we hack ourselves and our minds? And, it's like that little button that we have to press that says, like, I'm not a robot for our passcode. And I'm like, okay, I am a human. What is that button that I can tell myself and remind myself I'm a human, All
right, we're going to get deep here. So how has adversity shaped your leadership style?
I would say it's given me empathy, so much empathy. I was like, when I was a kid, and even growing up, thought that the world was black and white, and adversity has humbled me to a point financially in my personal life, with my health, all kinds of things where I've had to start from zero or start all the way over again. It has just made me a much more empathetic person who realizes that, we all have the ability to be in the same shoes as someone else. So it's given me I would like to say, a growing sense of empathy every day.
Love it. What would you say is the bravest thing you've done as a leader?
Share that I am not as far along as people think. And, whether that's a leader or, people have been swapping out this term leader and influencer, which is interesting because that's yet to see how that shakes out over the long run. But a leader does influence, and to be able to say, like, hey, I'm not as successful in this moment as you're thinking, that has really shaped everything. It's shaped everything for me.
Well, it also takes the pressure off too, right?
Yes.
Leading with humility and honesty, and you don't have to live up to standards that are unreal.
Yeah. I think people open up when we open up, when we just show them, hey, I don't know everything. What is your insight? And there's a respect for that. I mean, even when you walk on a stage, if everyone thinks that you think you're the everything, they're just they're gonna troll you in their own minds the whole time. So you need a level set, like, hey, I only put deodorant under one arm this morning. Like, I know my stuff stinks. Okay. So, woo, yeah, I think that's important.
Oh, this is good. If you had to give a piece of advice to an up-and-coming leader, what would it be?
I would say that everyone is improvising. Everyone is improvising every day. And, it's great to prepare, but leave space to know that you're not going to know the answer. And it's okay to say, I don't have the answer to that question, but I will find it out for you, or we'll ask someone who knows. So I would say improvising is a bit of it requires a bit of transparency. So improvise.
And then when things are rough or really stressed, how do you handle that? How do you process it?
Yeah, I usually get into a steaming hot Epsom salt bath and try to with vinegar and turn myself into a pickle. But I literally will do long baths to try to get my whole system just to calm down. A lot of deep breathing. I, in the past, have had some moments of anxiety where, you get your cheeks buzzing and you can't hardly breathe. And you just think, do I even have the money to go to the hospital right now when all they're going to do is tell me to breathe? So I was very inspired by my budget to learn how to get some breath work in there. So yeah, being thrifty will get you real zen real fast.
I have a lot to learn from you.
No.
My go-to is it's a piece of carrot cake.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, what's your favorite dessert?
I'm a dark chocolate lover all day. Anything dark chocolate. Recently, I've been discovering that people are dipping things in dark chocolate, like, oh my gosh, pretzels, graham crackers. That's kind of my go-to. Or yeah, I could go on. That could be a whole thing, me and chocolate.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. I needed a vice. And so I decided it was going to be chocolate.
Of all the vices, you did okay.
Again, it was price-based. That was fine.
Well, look, I had to figure out some sort of thank you gift. So that question was some things behind that. So thank you.
Oh, that's kind of, let me ask, what's your favorite dessert? I'm curious now. Now I'm going to have to get you back.
Look, I think sweets are my vice. So what kind of category of desserts? I mean,
right.
Carrot cake, key lime pie is delicious. Coconut pie, coconut cream pie. Oh my
gosh, I love it.
Pretty much anything, really.
Yeah. Nothing tastes better than when I have the opportunity to eat my emotions. It's like, oh, I'm sad, chocolate. Oh, I'm happy, chocolate. So there's always an occasion, always.
In my 20s, I managed a dessert cafe. So that was,
oh my gosh,
like every day, whatever.
And that's the time to do it, is in the 20s. That's for sure.
Good period in my life right there.
All
right. Well, this isn't about me. It's about you. We're going to wrap up. If people want to follow you or reach out.
Yes, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I will warn you, I post pretty much every day. I mean, I'm not as bad of a social media abuser as my father, who I want to unfollow and mute on Instagram 9 days out of 10. I'm like, Dad, come on. Oh, so it's definitely, I have that potential, but feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I'm not as active on Instagram, but yeah, I do enjoy making connections and meeting new people. So feel free to drop me a line.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thanks for being the first guest ever. First of many. I really appreciate it.
Happily.
Bye.